My respects to every soul as part and parcel of the same pure consciousness and is in reality and intrinsic nature inseparable from the consciousness that I am speaking from, and is the same consciousness. My salutations to all women as embodiment of the Divine Mother, and to all wisdom as the path of realizing that pure consciousness, whom I call the Mother. Is there any question from anybody today? Don't ask questions just to ask questions. If there is a quest inside you, ask a question and I will try to meet it. Don't ask
बाबा
questions. Yes.
एक क्वेश्चन करना था बाबा. जय गुरु.
जय गुरु.
सुषुप्ति में और समाधि में क्या भेद है, उसको कैसे जान पाते हैं?
Sushupti or deep sleep and Samadhi, the experiential state is the same. There is no difference in the experience. Only difference is Sushupti is entered without awareness and mainly through tiredness. What the awareness fails to understand it. Whereas Samadhi comes in the awareness of the meditation when it gets saturated. In that saturation, when you have entered Samadhi, you don't know, because knowledge cannot enter there. Of course, that is, I'm speaking of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But if you are in Kaivalya Samadhi, you have the awareness of being, that you will realize yourself. It is end of perception.
Baba, you're on mute.
It is end of perception, but not end of awareness. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that awareness is also not present. And in Brahma Samadhi, which is the end of Savikalpa Samadhi, it is pure perception. It's a sense of being and expanding. So witness consciousness is readily present there. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, witness consciousness is not present there. In Kaivalya Samadhi, the witness consciousness is not recognized but is present there. Why it is not recognized? Because there the witness consciousness itself is experiencing that state as the witness consciousness and the experiencer at the same time. So because there is no separation between the witness consciousness and the self-experience, it's only a sense of existence. In Brahma Samadhi, the witness consciousness is one with the experience, but the experience has an action. The action is expansiveness. It's continuously expanding. This kriya or the action of the witness consciousness itself has separated the state of experience and the experiencer in a way that the experiencer realizes that the experiencer is experiencing a situation. So the difference between the perception of me and my situation does not totally go. From these detailed differences of the stages of samadhis, the stages of samadhis are named after. Those who have not attained samadhi, they will not understand even these differences of the stages. And they will imagine these stages. Savikalpa samadhi is like seeing God or a deity or experiencing a situation like being in Nitya Vrindavan, being in the cremation ground of Tara or Kali, being in Kailasha. Here, the emotions also work equally. So the awareness is experiencing the record, recording the experience in memory, because there's a separation between you and your situation very clearly. That is generally called Bhava Samadhi. But Kaliyuga, being an age of confusion, if we continuously intellectualize the matter which is not a matter of intellect, people will get self-hypnotized and start thinking in this detailed manner as they're listening, and will self-hypnotize themselves that as if they have gone into Samadhi. I've met such many people, those who think they are realizers, but they're self-hypnotized. They may give very detailed descriptions, but in your dream also many detailed descriptions come of a situation, of experience. Suppose in the dream you are seeing, you are having very beautiful cake, and the cake is not present, but you are enjoying the flavor, the taste, everything. So it is impossible to separate between a dream situation and the Samadhi situation in that level. This is where Tero realization is necessary. But this realization can also be absolutely self-hypnotized. It can be fruit of a lot of reading, a lot of listening to wise words, and imagining So only a yogi guru, Siddha guru, will know while seeing the disciple whether the disciple is in Samadhi or not in Samadhi. Once Sri Ramakrishna told a story about it, that a magician was showing magic, and while chanting false mantras, as the magicians do, to a show off that a magic is happening, somehow his tongue got fixed to the palate and went into an accidental khechari mudra, and he went into a samadhi. People thought he's dead, and he has been put in a wooden box like a coffin and put into the grave. Many years after, somebody was farming that land and opened up the box, found a box, opened up a box, what is there, and saw a person is laying there alive, because in Samadhi people do not die. And when they were like shaking the body or trying to know how the body is under earth, like not rotten or anything, somehow the person's Khechari mudra got opened and he came back to life. And when he came back to life, then and there he started again mambo jumbo and speaking of magic. Like in him, that time period is missed because there was no experience. So saying this, Ramakrishna is saying that just the Samadhi without realization will not change the character or samskara of the person. Remember, samskara's character of a human being is standing on perception. When we go to non-perceptual state of practice, even the practice is a perception, reaching it to the non-perception, and from there when we come back, comparing with the awakened state or the dual state, we recognize that we had been into a state which is either unconscious or Samadhi. That is why a repeated practice of Samadhi will enable a person become more and more having detailed awareness of the experience, from where a natural realization will come, not a dictated realization, not an intellectual understanding. But the Samadhi will reflect in the intellect while you are coming back from nowhere to somewhere. So this, from translating your experience of nowhere to somewhere, the awareness will interpret it. But when you are going into that state, your awareness is fusing. Thus, just once having that experience or twice having that experience is not enough. It needs a regular practice of Samadhi. The other day, I said from the view of Samadhi that a realization is meaningless. Today, the internet is continuously cutting off. But it is also very significant. Again, a synchronicity. With the question, how do you know your intellectual understanding about a state of being, or a state where the being is getting dissolved without awareness? How do you know that it is Samadhi? It can be unconscious also. Like I will tell you, at the age of 5, I was initiated to Niruttara Samadhi by Aghora Baba and Ma in Vakreshwar. After that, I was perpetually getting into that state. But I didn't know what state I'm getting into. I could not explain it to people. I only used to feel a great bliss and bursting out. So my parents thought that I'm going through epileptic fit. And neurological treatments, adverse medicines were put on my body with the suspicion that I am sick. And they're curing me. If Chinmoy and Rangama remembers, the same thing is to happen to Anandi. And his parents is to put him from that child time into MRI scan, these, that, whatnot. Because they told them that don't fly the child in any airplane till the child is 5 years old. Because he's a crystal child. He has come with pure consciousness. And that will get disturbed in flying. Like losing the connection of art, a child within 5 years can have troubles psychologically. And those can manifest, may manifest later. But they didn't listen to me. They did it. Whatever they decided about the child and themselves, they failed. But their ego, this is called helic ego. Again and again, they worked with their ego. Same happened with me in my childhood days. When I was in class 9 or 10, that is the time I was recognized by Vaishnava Mahajanas, high Vaishnava sadhus and practitioners, because I used to attend a Vaishnava Kirtan world once a year. There used to be a big Kirtan world and I used to go and attend. In there, hearing the Kirtan, I used to go into these stages of Samadhi, different stages. And they started recognizing that whatever is happening to me through their tastes, the sadhus, that I'm going to various levels of Samadhi. Then when I came to Baba Thakur, then I realized in the process of learning Vedanta for 14 years, though I didn't accept that philosophy as my guideline to life, but I sincerely practiced it as a truth seeker for 14 years. And that sincere practice of 14 years developed my process of realization into a perfection of an avadut. The experiences of Samadhis were there always from childhood days till the day I attained or I am recognized to be an avadut by Sri Baba Thakur. So when he used to go on speaking about his Samadhi, I used to collect from there that same experiences happened to me. So from Samadhi, the wisdom he is speaking, I can catch it. I could catch it. That is why Baba Thakur is to love me as his intelligent end. He once said it before some scientists that I am the only realizer or made to be in the path of realization, because his understanding, in his understanding, realization is what matters. In my understanding, experience is what matters. Very different. Because I have seen a person speaking exactly like a realizer, but holding his pulses, I'm seeing there is no parity between Ida and Pingala pulses. That is, those who know to read the pulse as a yogi or even as an Ayurvedic doctor will know whether a person has entered Samadhi or not. In 1989, when I was first time in South India, in a yoga kendra, I was tested by the yogis and many doctors, because that time I was passing through practice of Samadhi some 5 to 10 times a day. I used to go into Samadhi and stay long there. So that is the time when anything I am enjoying, I am getting then and there into Samadhi. That is the time they tested me with Chilean photography. They tested me with putting all these wires on my body, seeing the frequencies. And the guru of the institute, it's a very big institute, Vivekananda Kendra of Bangalore. Their guru was one Hatha Yoga Siddha Yogi called, they used to call him Shastriji. And he was connected with another sadhu of Ramakrishna mission called Purushottam Devji Maharaj. He was not called generally as some Ananda, he was called Purushottam Devji. He was in a Paramahansa state of wisdom, people believed. And Swami Harshananda, who is a very high teacher of Vedanta. These three persons tested me for 15 long days. And then they came to the conclusion that I am passing through innumerable stages of Samadhi, and I'm speaking my experiential wisdom from my Samadhi. Once I asked Baba Thakur that you are speaking for years and years and years to people, how many people are realized around you? He said there is not much, 1 or 2 realized, but they kept mum. They didn't discuss about it. I asked why they didn't discuss about it. He said those who are enlightened, they don't discuss about it. So I asked him, are you not enlightened that you are discussing about it to everybody? See how contradictory our perceptions and postulations are, even we are enlightened. Bhattakur said, no, in a very mature stage of enlightenment, the words come from the source. I said, so there are stages of development in Samadhi also. You have to accept it. So Baba Thakur asked me that every time I'm going to Samadhi, am I experiencing the same thing? And I told him no. Every time I'm going there, it is from saturation of a thought or saturation of an emotion. And when I'm going there, I'm witnessing the total path by your grace because you have taught me how to witness the path. So if the witness consciousness wins over, then I won't reach this Samadhi. I will carry on witnessing. And if losing the identity of a witness consciousness is stronger, then I will enter Samadhi and lose the witness consciousness. So he was very happy to listen what I'm saying. So he said, is there never a witness consciousness? I said, yes, there is no witness consciousness where I reach. So then he asked me, though, how do you realize where you have reached is not unconscious? He said, because when I come back from there, from that moment of regeneration, I see in awareness. It is like I take a long breath and the breath gets naturally locked. I'm not taking another breath. I'm not feeling like taking another breath. And in its own process of no breath, an exhale is coming out. And when the long exhale is completed, the exhale lock has happened. I've not locked it by deliberation. It has happened. And then again, an inhale is coming up. Witnessing it for a long time, you will see the character of round breathing is where the breath gets locked by itself. And an inhale or exhale comes after the inhale lock. The exhale comes naturally. After an exhale lock, an inhale comes naturally. But this inhales and exhales are not like up and down. Like going up, locked. Coming down, locked. Not like that. It's around. So you witness deeper and deeper. I witnessed deeper and deeper and found, yes, the fulfillment of the lungs is not taking any breath. But the working of the lungs is carrying on. It's working out its work. Why it takes a breath, what it needs to do, purifies the blood, everything it is doing. And then when the work is done, in the same space, same motion, it is releasing the breath. Or after a release, it is taking another breath without an effort, without any movement in the mind. That is called Ujjayi Vayu, or a round breath. So Samadhi happens in that breath lock. And practicing again and again and again, a yogi comes to a state, then he can, by wish, go into a Samadhi, and by wish, come out from the Samadhi. So this is the point where I had 4 years of debate with Baba. The question is, where I cease to be, even as witness consciousness. If the self his question is, if the self is not present, who came back? And my question is, if self is present, then why Samadhi is not a state of duality, that the self is seeing another situation? So this debate went on between a guru and disciple, because here the debate is not on intellectual words, it's on citing experiences. For 4 long years. At the end of these 4 long years, after a lot of tests, Baba Thakur declared that he is an Avadhut. He has gone beyond the limits of spirituality. He's absolutely a free person. And then he kicked me out. He could not immediately kick me out because I was still in the saturation of my emotion with my guru. But he made very adverse situations for me to leave him. Because he knew, he said this also, you will challenge my teachings and you will destroy my teachings. Why he said it? Because you cannot talk about Samadhi. You can only talk about in the way of reaching Samadhi and the way and the description of how you come back from Samadhi. In the state of Samadhi, if you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you cannot describe it. Because no perception is there. So you can still describe Brahma Samadhi because there is a perception, pure perception. So from pure perception, secondary perception of recognition can come back. But where perception ends up, you can again come back like after a deep sleep. But by slowing down the process of entering Samadhi, keeping aware, it is like you carry on fighting against your not losing the consciousness by watching the state of consciousness. And when you have dissolved into the consciousness, you cannot recognize your separation from the consciousness, then there is no way that you can experience anything. From there, when you come back, again a separation slowly happening. How the separation happens is the way you will know. This first appeared to me when I was a child. By lighting matchsticks. In our time, we didn't have lighters. We had lighters, different kind, but people used to use matchsticks. So I was like 3 and 3.5 years old, and there was a full carton of matchboxes hoarded in the house. My father always used to buy things for a year, almost. He believed in storing. And I am opening a matchbox, lighting the match, seeing what is the moment that no fire to fire comes, how the fire is born. I'm trying to watch that moment. And then how it is blowing out. I'm watching. And these 2 moments, from fire to no fire and no fire to fire, is such a moment that I'm trying to again and again penetrate there with my perception. So time came when I used the total cartoon box of matches. And then my parents saw that I'm sitting, because a lot of smoke coming out, just the matches going off is like a gunpowder smoke in the house. So they came running and saying that I'm lighting it and looking at it and went off. I'm remaining for some time still, and then taking up the next match. And when they came, like almost all the matches have ended. This is an experiential standard. It's not through perception. That is why I said, Tero, that day, the realization can be a psychological benefit and nothing else. So it's meaningless without an experience. Because mind can tell you stories about realization. There's a story of Buddha's life. Then when Buddha ended up the fight with Mara in his Bodhi seat, in his meditation, means he has ruled over everything of ego. Psychologically interpreted, it, Mara or the Satan is your ego. So he has confronted his ego, or his ego has confronted him in his stillness of meditation, and he has carried on with his stillness, and he is watching the confrontation of ego without an wavering mind, and slowly, all the workout of the ego, all the firecrackers, all the temptations, all the bifurcations of mind have ended up. Now he is still in the stillness, and there is no ego reflection. Suddenly, he thought that so I have attained nirvana. He does not know he has attained nirvana or not. It came to his mind that there's no wavering of mind anymore. All the projections of the ego has ended up, and he was, as you know, he was the earth touching mudra, or holding the sit, that I will die in this sit if I don't enlighten. Absolutely. Because Buddha said this passage of enlightenment, that from enlightenment to enlightenment to enlightenment is a journey. In Prajnaparamita, he has explained it very well. So, when he thought it, then and there, from his heart center, a vision of a big lake came out, still lake. And he's seeing in front of him, in that manifested lake, is his own image reflected in the water, and he's hallowing. He has attained nirvana with all signs and everything. He's witnessing his own image. And he was happy. Suddenly he questioned his happiness. Did I meditate so long and did so much penances just to be merely happy that I am enlightened? And it is said, he plunged his hand into the water and hold his image. If you take it metaphorically, that he activated his mind into this vision and tried to catch the image. The moment he caught the image turned to Satan. So that is the last temptation of the Buddha. That you are the Buddha, I am realized, I am enlightened, this I am. So the moment Buddha saw his image of enlightenment as the prize of his ambition and his diligent workout, Buddha recognized where the Mara or the ego can hide itself and project enlightenment. So he said to Mara, these are all written I see them as metaphor. Some people believe that the real martyr, because they don't want to take the responsibility of their ego activities, so they project it somebody else's fault, Satan's fault. It's not me. Satan has done this. It's easier. Entire Christian world does that. That Satan is doing all the bad thing. I'm not doing the bad thing. Even the Muslim world does the same thing. Satan is doing all bad. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm a good man. I'm absolutely divine. Only Satan, the total Abrahamic tradition. So even in Buddhist tradition, I have seen big shareholders saying, it's not my work, it's Satan's work. It's Mara did it. I didn't do it. So they have separated Mara as somebody on whom I can project my faults. So they are Buddhists who will never know what is the meaning of the sense of Buddha. That is how Buddha was not a Buddhist. Sometime before, maybe an year or two before, some of you may recognize that in a post in the Blue Way of Satpurananda, there were many Western Buddhists making adverse comments to some post of mine. So I asked them, why you are so affected? So you are saying you are false, this and that. What's your problem? And why you have entered my blog? Did I invite you? No. You have come by yourself. So they went on debating with me. More than 50 posts came in each debate. Ultimately, they went away because in the debate they understood that I am asking them to assert their logics of speaking against me. It's all about the poison of competition, which is jealousy. So they may be practicing for a long time and not attained any state of experience because they come from maybe such gurus, those who are all intellectually realized. Now you will understand what is the meaninglessness of realization. And from there, they have taken it for granted that with a lot of logics, if we speak, it asserts our realization. So being competitive about somebody else is realized, they are debating it. So my logic was, if you are enlightened, you will know who is enlightened or not. And if you are not enlightened, either you call somebody enlightened, it's also a false appreciation. If you call somebody unenlightened, it's also false criticism. So what is the cause behind this false attitude is jealousy. That you cannot tolerate years and years you have practiced and you have not reached there. It is like in the Bible, the story of Job or Jehob in the Old Testament. So thus, a lot of information, a lot of logic, a lot of talks, a lot of reading, a lot of pilgrimage, a lot of ritual, a lot of moving from place to place, attending 10,000 satsangs, may not give you even a flicker of what is said to be enlightenment by the masters of enlightenment, those who have experienced it. For that, the purity of mind is very important. When Buddha says in his virtue, no lying, this is not just not lying to somebody, no lying to yourself equally. So that is why without purification of yourself, the entire journey is purification. When the purification is attained, when the conditions of samskara and karma are no more there, enlightenment reveals itself. Because your consciousness is in its intrinsic nature, the pure consciousness, the voidness as it is. You are not attaining anything. It's there. Can you attain the sky? No. You can just look into the sky. It's there. But when you look into the sky, you see the clouds. You see the stars. How much you see the sky? You see the moon, you see the sun. How much you see the sky? Ask yourself. So, looking at the sky, all these stars, planets, clouds, looking, it will start disappearing. And the big background consciousness will start becoming more virgin to you, more revealing to you about its reality. At that time, you will forget its color, because its color is created by sun's light and the blue wave frequency. It's not blue. This is why in Nath Sampradaya, this blue robe of an Abadhut is called Maya Vesh, an illusory appearance. Why? Previously, before Shambhunath, the Abadhutas, their trend, traditional trend was remain naked. So if they remain naked, they are called Digambara. Means Dik means space, Ambara means dress. So their dress is they're clad by the space, they're naked. So they are metaphorizing the naked reality of realization they have reached. So there are many hints about this nakedness. Digambara, Digambara, Natha Digambara. All this told you. All these praises, hymns are there. Because the Abadhutas of the prior Natha order before Shambhunath didn't believe in mundane general life at all. So being naked, they never stayed in a society. Neither many social people will go near them because they're naked. But Shambhunath, being an Abadhut, became the chancellor of Nalanda University. In 8th century AD, 700 something. He was born in 693 AD. So he started wearing a blue garment. The people are asking why you are wearing blue. Because Buddha has given us dress to be colored by mud colored dress. So he said, if mud colored dress is to be one with earth, I'm wearing a sky colored dress, explaining I'm one with sky. So Digambara from naked or the sky-clad came as Maya vase, or it is an illusory dress up, because blue color is the illusion created on the voidness of the sky. The sky is void element. It's nothing. It's nothing means not it has no value. There is no value which can reach it, because it is the substratum consciousness which is holding the entire universe. Vedanta is speaking about the source of the universe. That's the Brahman. The great expanse is the source of the universe. But Buddha is speaking about the background consciousness, where from the source of universe happened. Vedanta has mixed up between the source of the universe and the background consciousness as the same. It's not. Why? A background consciousness is so pure in its essential nature that it cannot be attributed as the source of the universe. There is no doing there. There is no motion there, because you are calling it Nischala. But you are calling it Brahman. Brahman is not Nischala, Brahman is expanding. Expanding is Sachala. How can it be Nischala? So if you are enlightened, are you not sure what terminology you are using to explain your state of experience, and you are self-contradictory in your own definition? You are calling it expansive and expanding, rooted in the verb root of bring or expanse. Expand. And then you are calling it's motionless. It makes no sense. It's tomfoolery. It's self-contradictory. But those who are decked with the term is also in a language. So wherever you are recognizing a state, of course it is a state of mind. Otherwise, how you are defining it? So you are asserting a definition by calling it Brahman, that which forever expands, and then you are explaining it by nihilism, by cutting off all possibilities connected to duality. So is the expanse not creating a duality of space and time? So one whose realization has not reached there, recognizing that the space and time is created by the expanse, because the expanse is mathematically, geometrically from the center to the circumference. So it is claiming a space, and the movement of this eternal expansion, which is continuously enlarging, is not free from the sense of space and is attached to the sense of time. So even common sense can drop out in a realization. Observe that terror, why I called realization is meaningless without experience. That is also a state of Samadhi. It's not a state of Samadhi. But that state of Samadhi is free from objective differences, but it's pure subjective in nature. It is not free from the subjective in look. That is why they call it the inner world. So when you call inner world, you have already made a difference with the outer world. You are already into the binary of mind. You are not free from the duality which is in your mind, showing the two opposite ends of the same reality. That is why Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita said, Apore yang ito tu vidyang prakriting vidhime param. That what people are seeing as apora vidya or ignorance, or illusion, this duality. From my view, it is wisdom and non-duality. Now, how can you explain that Krishna is saying, from my view, it is non-duality? From my view, it is wisdom. But from your view, it is ignorance and duality. Is Krishna monopolizing wisdom? No. It's the same way I'm speaking from my experience and realization of nothing. So that whatever I'm speaking, it is tattva or wisdom from my point. But when you are asking questions and getting the answers, you are getting informations. Because the moment it will become tatya and not tathya, tathya is information, and tathya, one is th and ya, another is tattwa, a little difference in its spelling. So one is wisdom and another is information. My wisdom is your information. So by collecting this information, if you start thinking, you have realized, you have had it. This is the big difference between the guru and the disciple. In a song, Lalon Fakir, another Avadhuta from Bangladesh, is saying, the guru and disciple lives under the same roof, but they are light years away from each other. They're light years away from each other. What one is saying and the other, what guru is saying and what the disciple is understanding, it's not the same thing. But till the disciple, to make the disciple realize, the guru is still speaking, knowing that this process of speaking is bullshit. Sorry, holy cow dung under the saffron flag. We are now Indians, everywhere saffron flag. We don't say bullshit. It's a holy cow dung. So who will fill up this gap? You will only fill up this gap. I cannot fill up this gap. This gap is created by your mind, not by my mind. My mind is seeing you as part and parcel of me, or the I consciousness. And when I am in Samadhi, none of you are there, not even I am there. Everything is meaningless. With that experience, I'm saying this is also meaningless. Whatever I'm speaking is also meaningless. Because I'm not speaking for me, I'm speaking for you. And what is reaching you is information. It's not wisdom. My Guru brothers and sisters who years and years listened to Baba Thakur didn't understand this illusion of mysticism. They thought whatever we are hearing, because he's speaking, every word is true, And when we can go on repeating it, we are enlightened. And in that thought of enlightenment, one can attain a state of faith, which can also be recognized as Samavi. Thus, whether I am enlightened also, I cannot prove you. So it is also bullshit if I say I am enlightened to you. I cannot claim that. Because if I claim that, you have no tool to prove I am wrong. You have no tool to prove I am right. So that is also meaningless. When in the Gridhrakuta Rajagriha, where Buddha is training his best of arhats into bodhisattvas, the first and foremost of them is Subhuti. And Buddha's disciples are competitive, of course, with Subhuti. I've experienced it with my guru and my guru brothers, how competitive and jealous they become. Those who follow my posts, my guru's page after my guru left his mortal body is also in their timeline in Facebook called Pragyapu Sisi Baba Thakur. So once they are saying of self, 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 self. So I said, who is the one who recognizes the self? Who is saying this? That this is self and this is not self. Who is saying this? Because one who is saying this is differentiating between self and non-self. And if on the start of the self, that self is ever enlightened, self has no practice to attain any enlightenment, which is just like the other word, background consciousness, then how that self will recognize anything as non-self? This question offended them so much, they started writing adverse comments and personal attacks against me, exposing their nature of competitiveness and jealousy. They have not come out of this jealousy and competitiveness yet. They have not come out of the nature of fault finding with others, their aggression. So then I left the page. I do not enter the page anymore. Because once Baba Thakur himself told me that even in a holy place, your mind is disturbed. Don't go to that holy place. If your mind is happy or in bliss, even in a hell, the hell is better than a temple that disturbs your stillness of mind. That is how an enlightened being speaks. So at time I felt that the congregation that has clustered around Baba Thakur is no more safe for me to enjoy the bliss of enlightenment. Or they have attained the enlightenment which is clashing with others. So just this question, who is the one who experiences the self? Is there a separation between the witness consciousness and the self? This was my question. They didn't understand it. I'm not saying this because I'm maligning anybody. I'm saying this because recognizing the character of ignorance, you will find where is ignorance in you. If you recognize the ignorance in you, you will very soon realize what is enlightenment. Because ignorance is only the cover of enlightenment, and making you see things ignorantly and in an illusory way when they're not. This is what Krishna said, that what you call apareyam itotu vidyam, what you call wrong knowledge or knowledge of duality or illusory knowledge is verily the wisdom as it is from my view. Because the duplicacy of duality is not present in the enlightened being. The duplicacy of duality is not present in Krishna. The problem is with the duplicacy, not with the duality. The duality does not disturb you. What disturbs you is the duplicacy. That duplicacy is the manipulation of the ego in your mind. So the objective mind always separates from the subjective mind. So the process of nihilism is actually separating the subjective mind from the objective mind by refuting the objective mind. That is also another tomfoolery. If you are wise, why you are seeing illusion into other things? It's a human mind creation, this illusion. Animals do not see mirage in the desert and they don't get falsified by the mirage and run after the mirage. Animals know where is the oasis. And human beings, you have so much intelligence, you go caught up into the mirage. You lead your animal after the mirage. But the animals know. Animals don't get caught up by the mirage. So the illusion is in human mind with the possibility of different interpretations of intellect. Scholars take a huge glory in novelty of interpretations. For a long time in the world of scholars, I've seen if somebody can give a novelty interpretation, he feels high or she feels high. Oh, see, what a better interpretation or a special interpretation I have given. The question is not truth there. The question is interpretation. So that scholasticism is also ignorance. Intricacy of ignorance can be highly intellectual. But again, whatever I'm speaking is not false. You cannot prove it. You cannot prove it, what I'm speaking is right. You cannot prove it. What? So, until and unless you enter somebody else's mind through what they're communicating with you, you do not know what they're trying to communicate with you. Because one sentence can be 1,000 times interpreted. Like just today I was thinking, that many scholars of Kashmiri Shaivism the school that is called by modern scholars Kashmiri Shaivism, and they see the progenitor as Abhinavagupta, who wrote the text Tantra Loka. So he first wrote, his book is the earliest book of Shaivite Tantra explained. Like there were many Tantras even prior to Abhinavagupta, but he is explaining what is the light of Tantra in his book Tantra Loka, the light of Tantra. It is said to be over 40 volumes, but only today some 6 are translated, 6 volumes, and manuscripts are found not more than 32 manuscripts generally. So other manuscripts are lost, other parts. So in the story of Tantralaka, Abhinavagupta had a very intelligent, brilliantly intellectual disciple called Khemaraja. Many of you have heard about those who are studying books on Kashmiri Shaivism. And Khemaraja not only misinterpreted Shiva Sutra's one sentence, the very important major sentence, he changed into opposite the sentence just by putting one A extra in between 2 lines. I've discussed it before many times. Chaitanya Atma Jnanam Bandha. He made these 2 lines turn into 1 line. He checked out the full stop in between and made the word come to a diphthong or a sandhi. Atma and Jnana turned together is Chaitanya Atma Jnanam Bandha. The Atma Jnanam can be interpreted as Chaitanya Atma Ajnanam Bandha. So Shiva is saying knowledge is bondage. He's saying ignorance is bondage. It's not the same word. So one who had so much intellectual ego that he can change one word of a Shastra, full of these holy texts have their words changed into manuscripts. That is how different manuscripts have different versions of the same word until and unless similar word and similar meaning has come. There is always conflicts among scholars, which one is the right. So Abhinavagupta not only kicked out this disciple out from his congregation, but he also put a curse as a punishment that anybody studying or listening to your interpretation in future will enter the world of ignorance and deluge and not ever reach enlightenment. Today, maximum of Kashmiri Shaivism scholars are based on Khemaraja's commentary. They're not with Abhinavagupta's commentary, they're with Khemaraja's commentary. So all the scholars are discussing about the spiritual truth through ignorance. If Abhinavagupta is right, the Guru was right to recognize that the disciple is intellectually adulterating the text. I will not name big authors of today's books of yoga. Even the Shiva Sutras you get in the market, see, maximum are with Khemaraja's commentary. So if you get Khemaraja's commentary and you read it, you will never understand Shiva Sutra. You will go into deluge. This is how an intellectual realization can be very disturbing for enlightenment. So there are a lot of questions. Let me see. Max is saying, are there typical perceptions during meditation that indicate someone is approaching Samadhi? Like how sometimes a person about to have a seizure will have specific feelings that indicate a seizure is coming. Yes, you could say, Max, in the same way. But as the person knows a seizure is coming, entering Samadhi is not like that. Entering Samadhi is very cool. There is no sense of insecurity. But for the novice, when they first enter Samadhi, they get very afraid. They feel like a sense of death, they're dying. Because actually, if I am identified with my ego consciousness, which is standing on perception, and I start losing my perception, and I'm seeing I'm losing my perception, it is like a seizure to me, or it is like I'm dying. So we say Guru knows. So entire yogic practice is standing on Guru's certification. This is another problem. There are many people who have called themselves without gurus. But they have become gurus. Baba Thakur himself is to say that he is not guru. Why? The interpretation is he does not give a mantra diksha. He does not give conventional initiations. So he is denying his responsibility of a guru, because in his view, just giving a mantra or giving a teaching and claiming to be a guru is also false, because in Advaita, there is no guru-disciple difference. So calling him guru, if you call Baba Thakur a guru, his trust board will shout against you. He is not a guru. How you are calling him a guru? People have come across it in Facebook also, in discussions with Baba Thakur Sachidananda Trust people. But you will see in that Guru Purnima day, there are hundreds of quotations given by Baba Thakur. They have published that how great is the Guru. So what is their understanding of the Guru? In Guru Purnima, they are putting Baba Thakur's picture, offering flowers, chanting Guru Stuti. But if anybody says, he's my Guru, they will fight. So where do they stand? It's exactly like that. They want so much superlative. All this competitive and superlative is coming from competitiveness. So as a doctor knows whether you have got a seizure or not, how it is a seizure or not, that is the science of the Guru. Exactly that, how a Guru knows a disciple has entered Samavi or a disciple has entered self-hypnosis or a seizure. Priyanka is saying, Priyanka, will I read what you have written? You have said privately. Should I?
Yes, Baba, you may read it. It's a good thing.
Baba, I have had butterflies in my stomach. I'm so excited to meet you and Ma. With all the negative effects of Rahu and Mars, I get to connect with you. I suddenly feel blessed. Baba, please see me to my end and don't send me to anybody else. I don't trouble you, I promise. So how are the butterflies in your tummy? How they enter? Through your mouth?
I don't know.
Through your mind?
I travel a lot, but I don't feel this way ever. In fact, I have another trip before I come to you.
So this is a phrase. This is a proverb for your expression of excitement, isn't it?
Yes, Baba. I don't know how else to explain
But
it.
if anybody believes in this line as it is, that Baba, I have had butterflies in my stomach, then they will also start for a rose garden in your heart, where the butterflies are coming from stomach and going to enjoy the roses in the heart. Or in the stomach, there is also a garden.
I don't know, Baba. You're speaking in riddles.
Good. When we meet, we will exchange these feelings.
Okay,
So,
Baba.
what I meant by interpreting Priyanka's line also, that how differently same line can be interpreted. How every expression can be duplicated by its expression itself. What Priyanka is meaning is, Priyanka is clear. But if Priyanka was not there and you could not ask Priyanka what she meant by butterflies in the stomach, then what did you understand? It's a disease, a butterflies have entered in the stomach, or she can manifest butterflies from the stomach. Isn't it? It's the same way I'm speaking to you. And what is getting interpreted, I don't know. So Rajesh, is it clear to you what you asked the question? I think I have said as many things I could say about your question.
Ji Baba. Yes.
Okay. So, see, at the end of such a big discussion, we are in a place that we have not come to any standpoint, a fixed standpoint about an experience or a wisdom. This is how I am discussing meaningless. I'm talking meaningless. And you are all hearing meaningless. My talking will be meaningful the moment that makes an experience in you through these words. And if these words do not make any experience in you, it's the flowing of the waterfalls. You cannot stop flowing of the waterfalls. And if you don't keep your container under the waterfalls, you will not get the water. My sannyas guru Ananda Mahima once said that the compassion of the grace of the God is flowing like the waterfalls. When people come and put their container upturned under the water. The water is flowing through the container, but it's not catching into the container. If you take a bowl and upturn it under a waterfall, it will not catch even a drop of water. It's like that. So I can go back to what Buddha and Subhuti are speaking. So all these disciples are competitive about Subhuti because Buddha is giving his words importance. So Buddha has given so much importance to his word that other disciples of Buddha asked, so what is Subhuti saying? Is this by the grace of the Buddha or by his own? If it is by his own, then it's not wisdom. If it is by the grace of the Buddha, then it's wisdom. Religion is already framed in front of a Buddha, of a realizer. So this discussion going on when Subhuti asked if the Buddha is standing on the realization, experience, and view of voidness, does the term Buddha also means something special? And Buddha said, the term Buddha also doesn't mean anything special. Do you think, Subhuti, I give any importance to the term Buddha? Coming to this point, all the disciples are not understanding anything. That Subhuti is refuting the importance of a Buddha. And Buddha is acknowledging it. Because whatever Buddha is refuting, saying as meaningless, is all that within perception is creating a difference. So whether Subhuti has realized it with the grace of Buddha or by himself is an idiotic thought. It's a religious thought. It is not a wise thought at all. Because when the question of voidness comes, the definition of a Buddha does not exist also. So Subhuti is understanding that teaching of Buddha from that reality of experience. And Subhuti is realizing it, as Buddha is saying. But the illusion of a Buddha and his grace can only give you enlightenment. This is the sense of difference in the Buddhists, not in the Buddha. So the duality regarding the same wisdom is created in the mind of the other disciples of Buddha, the other bodhisattvas even, that they want an information. What right Subhuti has to discuss this? Mere jealousy, mere competitiveness. Because one who is in voidness doesn't pay importance to anything, nothing, even not to himself, even not to his own realizations. And not paying importance to anything, he feels the depth of reality present in everything as that void consciousness. Yes, Manibrata, you were right. Manibrata, this you are asking me to explain, which is a Bengali song. So it is better to ask in the Bengali Satsang, because if you want this explanation of one of my song lines, Amar Doyal Guru bole dido re age kothin dhar, kothin na hole sahoje ragbi kar. Then I have to translate it, explain every terminology from Bengali to English, which will be a translator's diligent work rather than the easy flow of consciousness. Okay, I will still try. The song line says, my compassionate Guru, my beloved Guru, my kind Guru, declared to me that first hold on to the difficult truth. If you don't hold on to the difficult truth, what will you keep your easy truth upon? Because it needs a stable ground to stand on. A stable ground is difficult. Why it is difficult? Because what we think easy is what is connected to our nature. Our nature is conditioned by many conditions, which is karma and samskara. Thus, every person is different from every person by samskara, by the characterization happens through conditions, which is difficult. It's a long time accumulation of this conditioning, which makes you difficult to find the coolness or the easiness of the spontaneous being. And you misrecognize your habits coming up from the roots of conditioning as spontaneous. They're not spontaneous. They're conditioning. Then you will ask me, what is spontaneous? Spontaneous is when the cosmic consciousness flows through you in its own pattern, not in your conditioned pattern. When the truth is revealed through you, that is sahaja. So a person who is free from all conditioning can only live in sahaja. It's exactly like Adam and Eve were kicked out from the Garden of Eden, but all the other lives are still present in the Garden of Eden. Animals, birds, butterflies, fishes, trees, plants were not kicked out. So it is the same world that the other living beings are and we human beings are. We are not in the Garden of Eden, being in the same space, but they are in the Garden of Eden. So the Garden of Eden is the unconditioned nature or the cosmic flow of nature. Thus a dog barks and doesn't mew, and the cat mews and doesn't bark. But a human being barks, mews, grunts, does everything. This sense of ego in a human being, that a human being can become anything and everything, he or she or it has the right to everything. This ego has made human mind go into falsity of knowledge, which is ignorance. Ignorance is not no knowledge. Ignorance is perverted knowledge or wrong knowledge. So the sadhana is difficult. On the difficult attainment of the stages of sadhana, the spontaneity can stand. Spontaneity cannot stand without a difficult sadhana of a human being. Then what is standing as spontaneity is just conditioned habit flowing out. So according to Prajnaparamita, it is one who has reached the great void or the voidness will always view or speak or express or communicate from the standpoint of voidness, not from standpoint of anything else. That is how I said once that I went to see a very big Rinpoche, a Tibetan master, and he was comparing between Niruttara Tantra and Aghora. Niruttara Tantra or Anuttara Tantra, according to Shaivites, is termed as Aghora. According to Buddhists, it's termed as Niruttara or Anuttara. Only in this difference of terms, he's fluctuating and saying, what is the difference between the two? So I said, I know what is the similarity or sameness between the two. Why you are so possessed with difference? Then he said, because we bow down to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha and take refuge of the three jewels. Do the Aghoris take refuge of the three jewels? I said, if you say, Buddhang Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammang Sharanam Gacchami, and Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, then and there you have taken refuge of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Then you are making fool of yourself. You are just seeing a religious difference. And people claim you to be a Rinpoche who is enlightened being. How an enlightened being is so curious about seeing the difference and not seeing the indifference. Is the consciousness of Buddha standing on difference or on indifference? And then our discussion ended up because after this he didn't want to discuss it. So this is called a religious hierarchy. What is the value of a religion? There's no value of a religion. The real value is in your own experience of the divinity. Whether you share it with anybody else or not, whether people appreciate you or not, whether people recognize it or not, if you are a pure heart, if your virtues are perfect and easy, so long your virtues are difficult for you to practice, remember, you are not cleansed in your heart. You are not cleansed in your body, mind, and spirit. So cleansing the body, mind, and spirit. No lying, no killing, no stealing, no addiction, no sexual misconduct, no abuse, better to say, in today's language. If you can reach there without a difficulty, then you have reached the easiness of your virtues. If not, you have not reached the easiness of your virtues. So long your virtues are difficult, there are difficulties in your way to reach enlightenment. I will tell you a very freaky, a kind of Zen story with the Mahasiddha. Somewhat Sham is saying, is humanity not religion? No, humanity is not a religion. Religion is organized social, mystic, or social, spiritual organization to work out a faith. Humanity is not a faith. Humanity is a reality. You know clearly in your heart what you are speaking and what you know about yourself, how much they're true and how much they're not true. Nobody is the judge. You are the judge for yourself. So humanity is not a religion. But if there be any religion which is common to all, that will be humanism. But if in future humanism becomes a religion, then they will also put faith on things which has not been experienced or things which are unreal and say this is the only way to become human. A Mahasiddha, a monk, was in a cremation ground meditating. When he got disturbed at night that somebody is wailing, the Mahayani monk, he thought compassion is my virtue. What happened to this person? Why he is wailing? So he went to the person and saw the person is wearing a garland of bones, almost naked with a loincloth, and rolling on the floor of the cremation ground and crying. It took some time to cool down the person and ask, why are you crying? The man told the monk that leave me alone. I'm crying on my own pain. The monk felt, I'm a monk. My life, my authenticity, and my authority is to help people. So I have to work it out. He said, no, you tell me. I will find out a way for you. So after this, trying for some time, the person started relating a story. The story is how pathetic was his birth, how he was left away by his parents in childhood days, how he was tortured in the orphanage, how he grew up with social tortures, neglects, and sufferings, and how he came along a woman who is also suffering like him, and how she made a difference in his life, and how they loved each other. And when they married, how happy they were for some time. And then at the childbirth, the wife died together with the child. And he's wearing the bones of the child and the wife. So he said it, such a detailed description of his suffering. Went on, and came to this point But the monk got absorbed in feeling the suffering of the man and went into an empathetic state, which is the job of a bodhisattva. And then this man asked the monk, now tell me, how can you save me from this suffering? The monk said, yes, I will not try to console you or save you from the suffering. This suffering is so true, so painful, that all my knowledge about coming out from suffering has no voice before your suffering. And then the monk started crying. When the monk started crying, this madman started laughing at him. Then the monk came back to his senses and saying, why are you laughing aloud? He said, see, you thought you can save me from my suffering, but just listening to my suffering, you are absorbed by my suffering. Seeing this, I am laughing. The monk was shaken and said, who are you? And he said his name. Monk recognized the Siddhacharya is an absolutely accomplished being. But this accomplished being has taken his passion in enjoying his suffering by crying. So he said, I was enjoying my suffering in my own way. Why you put yourself into it and suffer my suffering? I'm enjoying my suffering while you are suffering my suffering. So what he meant to say, that even you have a virtue, but you have an ego of the virtue, you will get into suffering. Ego is the cause of all suffering. And he, in this duality, is not trying to deny his suffering. He is getting a kind of bliss in crying and wailing. And he is completely aware of it. And he can laugh aloud about it. It's very difficult to understand. If you read Sahaja Yogini Chinta describing his Avadhuta Guru, you will come to this contradiction. That from a view of an unenlightened, how an enlightened being looks like. A bundle of all contradictions. Pair of opposites. Because the mind who is looking at the enlightened being is perceiving through equal and opposite pairs of opposites. So without the difficult way of purifying yourself, body, mind, and spirit, you cannot flow into spontaneity. So the spontaneity needs a strong base to stand on it. That strong base is the difficult practice. It is something like Chinmayanath, you will understand from this story something we were personally discussing in our message. The work of a bodhisattva is to listen to somebody's suffering, but not getting possessed by it. By empathy, he will take that suffering in himself, or she will take that suffering in herself, or it will take the other suffering into itself. I'm always saying he, she, and it, because nowadays you speak he, the she's will get angry. You speak she, his will get angry. And there are some it's. They will get angry if you say he or she. They say all the three. All probabilities of extremities. So, when you are empathizing somebody, you have taken that pain in you. Now you resolve the issue as your pain and see what is the reality of the pain. It is not carrying others' burden. It is recognizing others' understanding through their suffering. Because if you take somebody's suffering with the view of that person, then you're caught up by that person's view and you are also succumbing into that person. Do you understand what I say? It's a hairline difference. This is how Shiva is drinking the poison and not dying. But I myself have seen this with my fallen disciples, those who are fallen, those who have done heinous crimes, those who have broken their purification, those who have reached a level and from there they have been caught up in demonic ego. When I broke the Sangha, when I broke the ashram, I went on thinking what the wrong happened. If I am responsible as the guru, why did they fail? So in that empathy, I also took their views into me. And I had to fight this last 6 years, 7 years, digesting that poison. Because those poisons are so strong that were trying to take over me and my wisdom and my tranquility. As a result, I got diseased. I'm a human being. I'm rendering my experiences to you. If you get any help from there. And then I came out of it by sustaining my sympathy, but not agreeing with the views of suffering. So I found the view of the suffering is a manipulation. They went into a state of self-manipulation. Like intellectual self-hypnosis claimed to be enlightenment. Like their mundane and degraded dark desires acted as if they're siddhas, they have right to everything. Maligning against the guru, speaking against the guru and sticking with the guru. So I had to tell them, now you go. Because if you have doubt in my teaching, in my behavior, in my character, you have no right to take my guidance and teaching. I'm not holding on to you. I'm giving you freedom, you leave me. And those who have left, they still write obnoxious letters to me that how bad I am, that I asked them to leave. Whereas they were accusing what they don't want to follow, they stick to it. So this duality will always be in a person who is not true to himself or herself or itself. So a bodhisattva should be also alerted that the sympathy and empathy should not cloud you into an ignorance. Even you are taking somebody's poison, take it as much as you can digest it. If you cannot digest, you fall back with their end of views, then you will not be able to help that person. So now see, we have talked long. We have talked many things from all opposite views equally. We have come to a point that we cannot think anymore. If there is any benefit of this satsang, is this moment that everybody, almost everybody, is feeling a mental silence. Where even whatever I am speaking is meaningless. What is the main problem, you know? When basically there is nothing to say. Because whatever I say is meaningless. Still, you all want to listen to my meaninglessness? I'm carrying on. Now tell me to carry on with the talking of a cigarette, I will carry on. You talk about a thread, I will carry on. You talk about an apple, I will carry on. Sometimes I feel that without any interest of speaking, a time I had interest in speaking. Today I don't have. Long back those days are gone. Sometimes I ask Ma, why do I speak? And carry on speaking. Ma said, you carry on speaking for hours. I just open my doors of expression and ask Ma Tara, who is the first personification of my own experience of voidness. So I personify her and ask her to express whatever needs to be expressed. Because from my viewpoint, Shukritima, you can ask what you are asking. Carry on, carry on. Unmute yourself. See, this foul game of satsang gets life when somebody asks a question.
I know. My question, though, is not a laughing matter.
Okay, serious. Fully serious now. No smile even. Say.
Because the world is going through many challenges at the moment.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could expand a little about Kaliyuga and its relation to what's happening now.
You may
it's a big question.
I will answer it, but it may not make you happy Because as
No,
much
I'm-
as you heard about Kaliyuga and what you will hear from me, may not match at all. Every different people have every different view. To me, Satya Yuga, or the age of truth, is when human beings didn't know to lie. Of course, there was a time before civilization when human beings didn't know lying. They were as natural as other animals. To me, that is Satya Yuga. When most of the people, they didn't know what is lying. If somebody today, for himself, herself, or itself, doesn't know what is lying, he, she, or it is still in Satya Yuga. If you can cut off lying from your life, you are in Satya Yuga for yourself. After Satya Yuga came the Treta Yuga. The term Treta comes from tree or trinity. So the truth is one, but when you see three different kinds of truth in the truth itself, then you are in Treta Yuga. That is body, mind, and spirit, different interpretations of the truth. And the avatar of Treta Yuga, Ramachandra himself, was caught up in this trinity. Whether he knew or believed that his wife Sita is stainless in her morality, or he didn't believe, is not clear from Ramayana. His attachment to Sita was clear because when Sita, he divorced, he made a golden Sita to remember Sita, which is very self-contradictory character of Ramachandra. That he is living with a doll, Sita doll, but the real Sita he cannot live with. So this is a bifurcation, a duality in the mind of Rama about his own wife. There can be 1,000 reasons behind it, doesn't matter. All good and all evil can carry on a reasoning and explanation. And at the end, when he still wanted to test Sita the third time, that if Sita is moral, she will enter a fire and she will not get burned. This terrible test, Sita refuted, and Sita entered the core of earth. If it is metaphor, then she died. If it is not metaphor, reality, then she separated from Ram forever, didn't want Ram to prove whether Sita is right or wrong, because a wife will expect her husband to know it directly and not standing on proofs. And then Ram committed suicide by drowning himself in Saraju, river Saraju. So this three-mindedness is the character of Kulavadhuta. So once you deviate from truth by intellectually differentiating or giving different views of the truth, you are caught into differences. So the Treta Yuga can be called the age of differences. This three has been seen as the three differences of the truth in human realization: through action, through knowing and through willpower of experience. These three didn't match with each other. Three together is the truth. So this action is coming from duality. The knowledge is coming from refuting duality, which is also a kind of duality, but called non-duality. Do you understand why it is another kind of duality, Shukritima? Because if you refute something which does not exist, then you are doing a tomfoolery, self-contradictory thing. You presuppose a thing and then refute it. So you are refuting your own ignorance. You are refuting your own ignorance. So you are giving importance to your ignorance by refuting it. Forget about it. If you are wise, why you need to refute ignorance? Even until and unless you are asked for by somebody to help. So this is Treta Yuga. Then came Dwapara Yuga, the age of duality or duplicacy. Here Krishna himself, the avatar of this era, has participated in this duality and duplicacy with the reason of ending up human beings. Because that time it was too much population. If you don't see the world, at least if the world was for Indians, only India, that time India had too much popularity, too much population, and Krishna took in himself the responsibility of ending up the population. Today, COVID is ending up the population. Accept it as another image of Krishna, will you? If you speak about Dwapara Yuga, that Krishna created a fight between Pandavas and Kauravas and almost everybody died, very few people lived, and that is a Leela, a divine game of God, then why today thousands of people dying in COVID, thousands of people getting affected with vaccine is true or not, false or not, with all these confusions? Why you see it as bad? See it as the glory of God. But now there is too much of population and too much of per person, a new version, which is perversion. When Western psychology is providing a license to be a pervert by saying mind can be anything. So they don't know the structure of mind and they are trying to cure minds. What audacity. Maitreya, do you understand what I'm saying?
At whatever level I can, Baba.
Okay. Maitreya Ma is a new psychotherapist. So I asked her, does she understand what I'm saying? Because in Buddhist psychology, which is the only and first psychology as a subject in India and appreciated by the total Orient, there is an ideal mind, which is the Buddha mind, and anything that has changed your nature from the Buddha mind, ideal mind, or that mind is called the Buddha mind, which is free from all conditions. So long you have a condition, you have a maladjustment. The moment you recognize you have no condition, you are the Buddha mind. The Buddha mind is underlying every mind. So you know that there is a stage which is known as a cure. But Western psychology does not know what is the cure, because every person psychologically is accepted as okay. So when such an age of Kaliyuga, confusion has come, terrible confusion and contradiction, that the poison of every age is present here. If somebody is enlightened, we hear, we say, enlightened, talking about it. Why? My poison of jealousy, my poison of competitiveness has come up. If we see a beautiful woman, a man will start dreaming pornography rather than see the beauty as a flower blooming. Everything is objectified. When people are thinking enlightenment is also objectified, I will pay a guru to give me enlightenment, and my enlightenment stands on the certificate. I get it. Then guru is also a commodity and disciple is also a commodity in the market of religion. That is Kaliyuga. So Kaliyuga will end up when people will come to an insecurity and lose the confidence on their ego. This disease is a terrible insecurity which is challenging all knowledge and ego of people. It's challenging the ego of the scientists, challenging the ego of the medical practitioners, challenging the ego of the medicines, and doing the opposite end also. Some people are making money out of it. But yes, we are dying. It's a deluge that was professed long back. Those who are my disciples, they know I have told them from 2007, get prepared for a deluge coming from 20 to 22. So in the new normal, many things of your life has changed and will change. And what the change will come down to, we will know when this fear of me dying in the COVID has gone. Not before. And in this thankful time, many people with vested personal objective interests are making money. Pharmaceuticals, doctors, politicians, economists. So it's a time of deluge when everything has gone to hell. People are suffering. This has changed people's economic standard, made affluent people poor, some poor people affluent. Those who are doing lucrative business with the disease, for them also another punishment is coming very soon. So with all these, it's a mass punishment. It's not that those who are dying, they all are bad people, but it's a punishment on the human race. We are sharing everybody's karma. But if you tell me, I see it is the glory of God. If there be a God, God knows now it's time to destruction. Like Krishna destroyed maximum people in India by politics and fight, creating fights. Similarly, if you believe in God, then God is destroying the human race, because we have come with our own advance to an end with our success, that we have created suffering for each other. So much. Endless suffering. So until or unless we die or we are afraid and we stop and think differently, we need a shock. So that shock has come upon us. Where it will take us, I don't know. But I'm ready to die tomorrow, now. I have no problem with it. Because I'm not attached to life. I have some responsibilities, of course. I'm not attached to death also. So if I die, I will accept it. I have only stress with my liabilities. That those who are dependent on me, when I leave them, how can I help them? This is my only concern. About myself, I have no concern. I'm quite a kind of bored with life for a long time. I'm not in the evergreen heart of Shukritima, who is always, hooray, come on. Like, I've gone through a lot of human wounds of love. I'm a wounded soldier in the field of love and care. So I don't see too much glory on life. But when I am in life, I will try to pass through it as cleanly and with realization as much as possible. What I won't be able to finish will remain undone. What to do? I will come back again if I feel that my undone works for people need to be completed. Maybe that day I will meet you again in a bus stand or in a crowded market. And there will be a connection then and there. If your connection with me is alive, not in your intellect, but in your heart, no problem. We will all again meet each other. It's just changing address. I've heard same people who have praised me a lot has accused me with abusive languages and accusations. So their praises and their abuses are equal to me, by one cutting the other at the same time. I'm not a hero, I'm a zero. My zero is my best consolation. I don't need any more consolation. So, where the life needs to end up, will end up. It's not in my hand. Or if it is in my hand also, that time I will feel I need to live more, or I don't want to live more. What to do? I'm a simple human being, no different from anybody of you. But I looked into my sufferings from childhood days. I didn't call life all suffering. I didn't call life all bliss. I called it the rain and the sun at the same time happening in this life. How we can manage and find a balance between my bliss and my suffering is my entire life trial. Yes, Max, rain and sun surely makes a rainbow. But this is a time of great change. If I survive, I will see after this big time of change what settles down. Maybe that time my teachings will also change if I leave. And if I die, okay, I will be born in a different changed time. But this time, next time I will be born, I will be very sure not getting an emotional wish to be born and help people. Because this lifetime is my great experience of I cannot help anybody of you if you don't receive the help. How much I have tried to help you to have this moment of enlightenment. I want to share my experience of voidness with everybody of you. And I've tried, I've done it also. But how many of you have recited in that voidness? It's all your conditionings, your choices. I am a zero. You don't want to be a zero, you want to be a hero or a heroine. I am a zero. Because I have no interest in what I'm doing, not interested in this satsang. The only interest in this satsang is I'm seeing you people whom I love. I'm seeing many people whom I have not seen. So my love can flow into other people. I'm enjoying in that way. If there is no satsang, also I enjoy in my own feeling of love inside me. I will never miss anything. But still, how my mind creates a missing to make something become successful in anybody of you. If I don't miss you, like I have a son called Sandipan. He's here or not, I do not know. Sandipan De. He is always in sentimental grievance with me. And he writes it openly in Facebook. So when he said, I have sentimental grievances against you, it's a translation of the term Obhiman. I said, without the ornamentation of sentimental grievances, a relationship of love is blurred, is very bland. The spices of a relationship of love is sentimentalism. So that's good. But at the same time, if this sentimentalism remains in the process and love goes, it will be seen as self-importance and nothing else. Then he got very angry with me. And that's a till I love you. Then I had to laugh. That why are you not happy with the love itself? What is the demand? Of course, in a relationship, there is a demand. Love always do not make a relationship. You may get stunned to hear this. Love may break relationship. To keep love alive, you may like to separate from your beloved. That has happened to me again and again. That those who are near me in a relationship of love, be it into any relationship, guru-disciple, father-daughter, father-son, mother-daughter, mother-son, any relationship, brothers and sisters, friends, if it is disturbance to keep a relationship, then the love will suffer in the relationship. It is better to break the relationship and keep the love alive. Because the love is in your hand. Love is not gone with the person you loved. Like Shubha Brata, Shubha, our Dotara Shubha, loves me. But he hides a lot of his personal things away from me. Because he knows if Baba puts his nose into his affairs, then it will not be a very enjoyable situation. Isn't it? Shubha?
Yeah, Baba.
So let Baba not know everything about me. That's also a way of maintenance of love. It's just like that. Those who are near sun can feel burned. So if you want to enjoy sunlight in the way you want to enjoy, make that situation for you. That is your condition. And that is the relationship. In that relationship, that way you will receive sunlight. How many people can stand under sun? I cannot myself. I only come out to see the last golden rays of the setting sun or the rising sun. Then I enjoy. Whole day I don't enjoy. Just many people may not enjoy my scorching nature all the time and may choose to be away from me. Good. Think I'm also don't have the responsibility to dry up your extra wetness. And when you suffer with your extra wetness, you again call me, then I feel you are confused. You like me to know you, or you like me not to know you, is not sure to you. Thus, love also in Kaliyuga has created a huge contradiction. Is the love satisfying for me more important? Or whom I love satisfying for her or him or it more important? We don't know. How many of you know that? Some people have so much love, but they don't know. They don't realize their love. They only feel the attachment. And in that attachment, when they suffer, they are shouting against the loved ones. This person did wrong to me, so I suffer. That person did wrong to me, so I suffer. It is not that I have not done that. I have also done that. I am a human being. But this is the situation of Kaliyuga. So wherever one extreme point comes to me in my life, what I do, I immediately, I'm seeing this side, I immediately turn it and see the other side and equalize it. And I go into the neutralization of whiteness. Like it's like whenever I see a light is burning, I put the negative and positive wires both in the switchboard and it blasts out. No problem for me anymore. Like if you take two electric wires and pass it the same hole of your plug point, the entire electric system will be put off. So whenever I see one thing, to know it, whether it is negative or positive, I put just the equal and opposite thing together with it and observe it. As much as I observe the Vajra, the two equal polarizations. And I know that if I am in a contradiction, these two opposites will resolve my contradiction. What I end up is zero. That is how I am not a hero, I'm a zero. Somebody said, Baba, hero is one who goes on doing whatever he or she thinks is right and does not listen to others. If that is to be a hero, I am hero number one. I don't listen to anybody. What my conscience dictates me, I do. I don't go against my conscience. But my conscience may not fit you. So that is why I teach you how through meditation, yoga, meditation, and Samadhi, you can awaken your own conscience and find out your ways. A couple of years ago, one of my near disciples and daughter said that what I'm telling her as advice, she's seeking the advice. I'm not jumping to give her any advice. Is not what her conscience says. I said, oh, that's beautiful. Then from today, you don't ask advice from me. At this, she got angry and started telling people that I have kicked her out, I blocked her, I am a bad man. She started recognizing me as a bad man after 12 years of worshipping me. When she was worshipping me, I told her, don't worship me. I am just another ordinary man. If you value my advices, then you ask advice to me. If you don't value my advices, don't ask me. Don't encourage your self-contradictory nature, which is the character of Kaliyuga. Leave me and feel peace. But still they're not feeling peace. They're still shouting to people against me. And whatever they're saying, others are saying, Baba, they're not in conscience. Who knows whose conscience is dictating whom in which way? The conscience of a lame man will not ask the lame man to run. So your conscience knows what are your limitations. According to that, your conscience tells you what to do. And now, if this reasoning is intellectually your judgment, then you will do anything by saying you are in conscience. And if it doesn't match with another, okay, every person's conscience speaks different. So we are in Kaliyuga, which is an age where with all my intellectual ego, I come ultimate, I'm confused. Just today, one of my disciples are writing to me that they need to talk me urgently because they're going through a bad situation and trouble. This situation and trouble that they are making to come in their way in future, I told them 5 years back. I said, if you move like this, you will suffer. They said, they will not suffer, they will win. They wanted my support. I said, I will support you as much as my conscience allows. Where my conscience does not allow to support your any action, thought or motive, I will not support. So whether your thoughts, motives and actions are right, and it's not clear to me that they're right, I offer you in hand of Ma. So I told Ma, if they are right, they're prized. And if they're wrong, they're punished. It's not in my hand. You do what is necessary. So I told them, if the actions you are doing with the mindfulness and the motive in him is right, it will prove by its own flow. If it's wrong, it will prove by its own flow. And today, they're shouting, Baba, we are in trouble. This trouble was known for a long time to you. That time you didn't listen to my advice. Today, when you are in catastrophe, then you are telling me to save you. How can I save you from your karmas? If you have cut your one hand with the other hand, how can I join the hand back, and why I will do it? I cannot do it. You have chosen your own fate by your own choice, by your own judgment. Abide with it. That is why in Kaliyuga, a guru-disciple relationship is also very difficult. Because if there is no dedication in the guru to save the disciple's soul from ignorance and suffering, and if simultaneously the disciple is not wholeheartedly dedicated to the guru, has grown full trust in the relationship with awareness, with blind faith, anytime it will break. With awareness, then a guru cannot help a disciple either. So when you say guru is everything, do we burden the guru with all responsibilities? That everything bad happening to me is due to you? But that can also happen. In my life, it has happened. By listening to others, my Guru Baba Thakur has spoken adverse comments against me publicly at one time. And after 12 years, he has declared that he has been punished by Ma, punished by the great goddess, because he listened to others lying against me and he believed so. I have suffered this. Those 12 years, after those 12 years, I'm suffering. To whom I dedicated myself is not enough responsible. It's not enough correct to be my support. I have also realized that where Guru cannot be the support of the disciple, I have become my own support. Of course, my gratefulness to my Guru will never go. What I have learned from him to be self-supportive, for that I will entire life remain dedicated to him. But I am not in blind faith. To err is human. So my elder Guru brothers who listened to that, when my Guru said that he has mistaken, this is the wrong he has done to me, and he does not want to take the responsibility of wrong. He's putting it on everybody. You people have separated him from me because my Guru was making me next to him. And the establishment that was growing around him was not wanting that. I didn't want any establishment. I told my Guru, when I came to you, I came to lose everything. Lolita Ma will appreciate. I have not come for any organization. I've come for you because I loved you. Your wisdom, I have accepted wholly. But all your instructions are not instructions of wisdom. There are many instructions which are in the mundane life, and that has disturbed me. So those who speak all divine, their life is not always all divine. So I have not spoken any end line. To me, void is the end line of everything. Because when it is void, you have no problem. Go into Samadhi, no problem. No organization, no trust board, no monastery, no library, no publication, no competitiveness with your own Guru brothers and sisters. Great. But he said all divine for all time as it is. But is it divine? So somebody is asking me, my much elder Guru brother, that we are very sad that we didn't keep any connection with you. They came to meet me. When Baba Thakur said that he was wrong, But ultimately, when we said that if you are wrong, then resolve it with him. He has dedicated his entire life into this path only by following you. So it was a crime against him. He said, I don't have the guts to face him. He's very wrathful. And I don't have the courage to face his wrathful nature. Fear, insecurity. So full enlightened being also have fear and insecurity. That is where I am saying, be human. Don't be a god. If you take a pedestal, you will fall from there. Lay down in the ground, you will never fall. The ground is humanity. The ground is humility. The ground is without disturbing others, follow your own ways. But if your ways disturbs others, then there will be fight and trouble. But it will also happen that if you are very happy, your neighbors will get angry with you. Once an elder told me in life, do you know when you are blissful, when you are really happy? When your neighbors are having aching assholes. That is the mark you are happy. When people are disturbed about your happiness around you, don't care. Leave people. Like in my entire life, it's a legacy on my life. I choose a secluded place and it becomes crowded after some time. It's not crowded only around me. It's crowded. Like market come up there. Why I do not know. This may be my fate. And then I move from there. Choose another secluded place. And then again, that place becomes crowded. Then I again change another place. And thus I am continuously moving. Now I am on a main road house with all cars in this late night also. Hear how big cars are moving. So I was about to see some green in the opposite mountain, but maximum what you see in the opposite mountain from my balcony or window is all concrete jungle. But still there were some patches of green. Now a new hotel has come up in the front. And day before yesterday, they opened the hotel. They fed a lot of people, a lot of partying sounds were going on. Then I thought, if this sound carries on, I will not survive here. And then the next day was all that garbage, huge mass plastic accumulated for the party is getting burnt out because the municipality of Kalimpong does not work. They take taxes. They take taxes, but they don't work. So entire city is full of garbage everywhere. I go some 5 kilometers away from you to dump my garbage in the final garbage dump here. Otherwise, everybody is burning the garbage in their own house, including entire plastic. So it was so unbearable in my house. The house was smoked with plastic smell that I told Mama, I will die if I stay here. 3 hours this plastic smoke is carrying on. Somebody said, complain to the municipality. I said, no, I am not doing, because municipality doesn't work here. The law and order is fake in this land where I'm living. If the government cheats you, if the government takes your taxes and don't keep your habitat clean by removing the garbage, then what do you complain? There's no way. So I have to leave this land soon. I'm searching where I can go, in which seclusion I will get some space. What to do? Okay, I've talked a lot about my problems also. Now you will feel good that Baba also suffers. Horibol, horibol, horibol. So I am with you. Not only you are suffering, I am equally suffering. How about it, Priyanka? You have butterflies in your tummy.
Yes, Baba.
I'm scorpion moving in my heart.
Baba, nowadays, even I've started saying horrible in my mind. Like if I want to exclaim at something, I say horrible, and then I think about you.
Does that mean that you are following me blindly and soon fall into a gutter?
No.
Don't follow me blindly.
No. I'm not following you.
Save you. You can only save yourself. I can help you to save yourself.
I know. But
I don't like anybody blindly following me. I hate it because that's a very bad liability.
But Baba, it's happening naturally. I've never said horrible.
You are thinking it is naturally. It is conditionally.
By listening to your satsangs, you mean?
How many times you have heard your listening to your boyfriends offering their heart to you? You have chosen boyfriends. And how many times you thought you were betrayed? One day in satsang, you may find something I'm talking which is going against you. And that day you leave me.
I will speak up, Baba.
I dedicated myself and didn't support me.
No, Baba, I will speak up if I disagree with something.
Don't agree with me. Don't disagree with me. See whether my words are opening up windows inside you.
Right.
More light is coming inside you for your own realization, for your own experiences. Then it matters.
Right.
Your experiences and your realization will remain with you even I am dead.
Baba, please stop talking about dying. It makes me very sad.
So I am born and I will never die. Just see.
But ever since
goes on.
Ever since Guru Purnima, no.
Haribol.
Baba, since Guru Purnima, you've been hinting at it. It's not. I'm feeling like I'm
getting old means accepting death. And my entire life, not entire life, of course, entire life in that way. I practiced dying in living. I'm a living dead. I'm a zombie.
Zombie.
I have no extra value for life. I have no extra value for death. But when I am in life, I will give full valuation to it. And if death comes, I will give full valuation to it.
Hello.
Well, I respect emotions, but I don't abide with emotionalism. Emotionalism is a dream which is self-contradicting by itself. Emotions are good. Without emotions, purification do not happen. Again, emotionalism can make you create a lot of impurities. Now try to understand what is emotionalism and what is pure emotions. Again a trouble. Huh? Priyanka?
Yes, Baba, I was just thinking I'll have to figure this out. What is emotionalism?
Priyanka, with your sweet confusions in the Satsanga, many people are falling in love with you.
That's a good thing, I guess.
I'm just alerting everybody. Whenever I see something, I alert people. You are becoming dream girl of so many people you do not know. How sweet is Priyanka? How childlike is Priyanka?
Papa, it's an illusion.
And their love may one day take them to their suffering. Saidiak is laughing. Saidiak knows this very well. Hari bol, Hari bol. See, the beauty of love is, if you even suffer love, somewhere you enjoy it. It's like a dark, bitter coffee. You know, Nilabdi has presented me a coffee with a black packet with a skull in its, as its big skull, as its emblem, and written underneath, the strong shit. So having Nilabdi's strong shit, I'm passing my time well, enjoying suffering. You may think it is intellectualizing. Sometimes we need to intellectualize for ourselves. Suppose the suffering, you cannot handle it. Like I was talking to Shukritima, views. If you see it is time of deluge, it is time of death, this is one view. The same thing happening, it's the glory of God, that God is making space, cleaning out the garbage of human world. Those people will may live happily after we die. Just views. This is kind of also intellectualizing as a solace. In Prajnaparamita, this has also been mentioned, Shukritima, that at the end of the degenerated age of Kali, a great time of change will come. Many people will see it as destruction and deluge. I will ask my bodhisattvas to see it nothing but a big change. That means make your mind secular in matter of good and bad. What is happening is happening. It's a time of change. Good? Who knows good? Bad? Who knows it's bad? It's a time of change. Take a secular view. Nowadays, if you say in India you are secular, people can beat you down. Yes, it is a time of cleansing, of course. Of course, but so many innocent souls are dying that we cannot give any reason to it. Like no intellectualization works there. But what to do? But to accept this situation. Okay. Now, Maitreya Sangha is telling me, Baba, it is 3 hours past. You have talked too much. Control yourself now. Shh. Sometimes, parents tell children, shh. They don't know why to stop or to pee-pee. Whenever my mother used to say I was very talkative in childhood days, you can see till now the childhood days is carrying on. That Don't talk anymore. That's all. Shh, I will pee in my pants then and there. Because I read it that my mother is asking me to pee. Shh. This is how everything can be interpreted differently. Okay, everybody. Shambhu Adesh, Aghora Adesh, Avadhuta Adesh, Alakhaniranjana Bom 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 Har Har Mahakal.